There comes a point in your journey where it's not about adding more habits, more goals, more people, but about letting go. Life becomes heavy, not because of what we lack, but because of what we carry unnecessarily. Every negative pattern, every draining connection, every toxic thought quietly steals your energy, focus, and peace. If you truly wish to rise higher, you must learn the art of subtraction, of removing what no longer aligns with your growth. These are the 12 things you must eliminate from your life immediately. If you want to walk lightly, live clearly, and move powerfully toward your purpose. Number 1. Eliminate negative self-talk. There is a voice inside you that speaks louder than any sound in the world. You hear it when you wake up and when you fall asleep. Sometimes it whispers doubts, other times it shouts fear. It tells you that you are not ready, that you are not enough, that no matter what you do, you will fail. And the painful truth is, most people never question it. They believe this voice as if it were truth, when in reality, it is only an echo of old wounds, unhealed memories, and the opinions of others that you unconsciously accepted as your own. This voice lives quietly within the walls of your mind, waiting for the moment your confidence begins to rise, only to pull you back down. It disguises itself as logic, pretending to protect you from disappointment. But what it really does is limit your life. Negative self-talk is a prison without bars, a chain that keeps your potential tied to fear. You walk through life carrying invisible weights made of self-doubt, not realizing that your own thoughts have become your heaviest burden. You see, your mind is powerful beyond measure. It listens to every word you say to yourself. It believes you. If you constantly tell yourself you can't, your mind starts building walls around what's possible. If you constantly tell yourself you're not worthy, your energy begins to shrink. The universe responds to the vibration you create inside, and when that vibration is filled with criticism and shame, it can only attract more of the same. The moment you speak to yourself with cruelty, you disconnect from your inner strength. Imagine a seed trying to grow in poisoned soil. It doesn't matter how much sunlight it receives, it will struggle to thrive. That's what happens when your thoughts are filled with negativity. You may try to improve your life externally, but internally, the soil is toxic. To grow, you must cleanse it. You must replace judgment with compassion, and criticism with understanding. Every time you catch yourself saying, "I can't do this," stop and breathe. Notice that thought and ask yourself, who is speaking? Is it your truth or your fear? Is it the real you or the shadow of your past trying to protect you from growth? You were not born with negative self-talk. It was taught, conditioned, repeated until it became a habit. And what is learned can be unlearned. Speak to yourself as you would to someone you love deeply. You wouldn't look into the eyes of a child and say, "You are not enough." You wouldn't tell a friend, "You will never succeed." So why do you say these things to yourself? The way you talk to yourself becomes the foundation of your reality. Speak words that build you, not break you. Speak words that remind you of your potential, not your pain. When the voice of doubt returns, and it will meet it with awareness, smile at it, thank it for trying to protect you, and let it go. You do not have to believe every thought that enters your mind. You are not your thoughts, you are the awareness behind them. That awareness is calm, powerful, and free. From that space you can choose a different voice. A voice that says, "I am capable, I am learning, I am growing, I am enough." The mind is a garden. Every thought is a seed. You can plant fear, or you can plant faith. You can water doubt, or you can nourish courage. What you choose to grow will determine the fragrance of your life. So tend to your inner garden carefully. Eliminate the weeds of negative self-talk before they take root. Because when you finally speak to yourself with love, you awaken the strength that was always waiting within you. And in that moment, the voice that once held you down becomes silent, because you have remembered who you truly are. Number 2, eliminate toxic relationships. There are people who come into your life like sunlight, warm, gentle, and full of energy. And there are others who come like shadows, quietly draining your light without you even noticing. Toxic relationships are like invisible chains. They don't always make noise, but they slowly steal your peace, your confidence, and your sense of direction. Sometimes it's not the storms outside that break you, it's the storms you allow to live within your circle. You know it in your heart when someone's energy is not aligned with your growth. You feel the heaviness after every conversation, the tension in your chest when their name appears on your screen, the subtle anxiety that lingers long after they're gone. Yet out of habit, fear, or attachment, you hold on. You tell yourself, maybe it's not that bad, or maybe they'll change. But deep down you already know this connection is not nourishing your soul. It's slowly starving it. Imagine your energy as a garden. Some people water it. They bring sunlight, patience, and presence. They help you bloom. Others come with careless hands and step on your flowers while pretending to admire them. They take and take until your garden turns barren. And still you give more, hoping that love, loyalty, or understanding will somehow heal what is already broken. But healing does not happen through sacrifice. It happens through boundaries. Letting go of toxic relationships is not an act of cruelty. It's an act of self-respect. You cannot save someone who is committed to misunderstanding you. You cannot build peace with someone who thrives in chaos. When a person consistently drains your spirit, no matter how much you care, staying becomes a slow form of self-abandonment. Love does not mean enduring pain endlessly. Real love uplifts. It doesn't suffocate. You must learn to walk away without anger. You don't need to hate them, expose them, or wish them harm. Simply step back, silently, and let the distance heal what presence could not. Some people are lessons, not lifelong companions. Some connections come to teach you where your boundaries begin, and where your peace must be protected. Detachment does not mean coldness, it means strength. It means choosing yourself without guilt. The truth is, energy is contagious. Spend enough time around bitterness, and it seeps into your thoughts. Stay long enough in someone's darkness, and it begins to dim your own light. Protecting your energy is not selfish, it is necessary. You are responsible for the vibration you carry, and that vibration is shaped by the people you allow near your spirit. It takes courage to say, "This is no longer healthy for me." It takes strength to walk away from familiar faces when your heart still cares. But the cost of staying small to keep others comfortable is far greater. Every time you choose peace over chaos, you reclaim a part of your power. Every time you say no to what hurts you, you say yes to your higher self. So release the need to fix everyone. Release the illusion that your love can change those who refuse to change themselves. You are not responsible for their healing. You are responsible for your own. Be kind, be compassionate, but be wise. Not everyone deserves a seat at the table of your energy. And when you finally let go of what drains you, you make space for what strengthens you. You'll notice how your spirit feels lighter, how your thoughts become clearer, and how peace slowly returns like a sunrise after a long restless night. Remember, your life is too sacred to be a battlefield for other people's unresolved chaos. Walk away with grace, protect your light, and never apologize for choosing peace over poison. Number 3. Eliminate the need for validation. There is a quiet prison many people live in, the prison of needing to be seen, liked, and approved by others. You can spend your entire life trying to earn applause from people who don't even understand your song. You dress to please them, speak to impress them, live to be accepted by them, and in doing so, you slowly abandon the most sacred connection of all, the one with yourself. The need for validation is one of the most silent destroyers of peace. It whispers, "You are not enough unless they say you are," and so you run endlessly, in circles chasing approval that will never fill the emptiness within. Imagine a candle trying to prove its light to the sun. No matter how brightly it burns, the sun will never notice. And yet the candle's purpose is not to be noticed. It is to shine. That is you. You were never born to seek permission to exist, to speak, or to create. You were born to express what life has placed inside you. But when you constantly measure your worth through the eyes of others, you dim your own flame. You begin to hide your truth, suppress your voice, and shapeshift into someone you no longer recognize, just to be accepted. You must understand something deeply. People's opinions are mirrors, not truth. Some are clean, some are cracked, and some are too fogged by their own insecurities to reflect anything clearly. If you keep depending on their reflection to define who you are, your identity will always be unstable. Today they love you, tomorrow they criticize you. Today they call you wise, tomorrow they call you foolish. If your peace rises and falls with their approval, you'll never know stillness. Validation is addictive because it gives a short burst of belonging, but like sugar, it leaves you emptier when it fades. True confidence is built in silence, when no one is clapping, when no one is watching, when it's just you, your effort, and your growth. That is where real self-worth is born. Every time you do something purely because it feels aligned with your spirit, you reclaim your power. Stop asking others to see you. See yourself. Stop asking others to choose you. Choose yourself. The moment you no longer depend on external validation, you become unshakable. Because what can they take from you when your worth no longer depends on their recognition? When you stand rooted in your own truth, judgment becomes background noise. You begin to understand that not everyone will understand your journey, and they don't have to. Your path was not built for their approval, it was built for your awakening. Think of a tree, it grows in silence. It doesn't beg the wind to applaud its branches or the earth to praise its roots. It simply grows because that is its nature. And one day it stands tall, offering shade, fruit, and beauty to the same world that never validated its growth. Let that be your way. Live in alignment, not in approval. Move with purpose, not with performance. It takes courage to detach from the opinions of others, but it is only in that detachment that you find true freedom. You stop performing and start living. You stop chasing and start becoming. You realize that your value was never meant to be negotiated. It was meant to be remembered. So release the need for validation. You are not here to be liked. You are here to be real. You are not here to impress. You are here to express. You are not here to fit in. You are here to awaken. When you finally stop seeking to be seen, the right people will feel your light without you ever having to prove it. Because authenticity doesn't beg for attention. It naturally commands it. And that is the quiet power of one who truly knows their own worth. Number 4. Eliminate comparison. Comparison is the thief that steals silently, not from your possessions, but from your peace. It begins innocently. You look around, you observe others, and without realizing it, your mind begins to measure. Someone else's success becomes a mirror that reflects your doubt. Someone else's beauty becomes a reminder of what you think you lack. Someone else's progress begins to make your own path feel small, and before long your life becomes a race you never intended to run, chasing standards that were never meant to define you. You were not born to be a copy. You were born as a unique vibration of life, one unlike any other. Look at nature. The moon never competes with the sun, yet both shine in their own time. The ocean does not envy the mountain, yet both stand in majesty. Each part of nature exists in harmony because it understands its own purpose. But the human mind forgets. It begins to chase what others have, forgetting that their light can never replace your own. When you compare, you weaken your spirit. You create a silent war within yourself, between who you are and who you think you should be. You stop seeing your progress, your blessings, your lessons. You look at someone else's destination without understanding the storms they had to survive to reach it. What you see on the surface is never the full story beneath. Every smile hides unseen effort. Every victory carries hidden pain. So when you compare your journey to theirs, you are not being fair to your own. Comparison blinds you to the beauty of your now. It makes you chase timelines that are not yours. Life does not move in straight lines. It moves in seasons. The tree does not panic when winter comes. It does not look at the flowers and say, "Why am I not blooming?" It knows its time will come again. The same is true for you. Your growth may be invisible, but it is happening beneath the surface. Every challenge, every delay, every quiet season is preparing you for your own moment of blooming. Instead of comparing, start observing with gratitude. Let others inspire you, not intimidate you. If someone has achieved what you desire, let that be proof that it is possible, not proof that you are behind. Comparison says, I am not enough. Inspiration says, I am capable too. The energy between these two is the difference between peace and suffering. You must learn to trust your own timing. The universe is not late, and neither are you. What is meant for you cannot miss you, but you can miss it by looking too long at someone else's path. Stay rooted in your journey. Water your own soil. The flower that constantly looks at the one beside it forgets to turn toward the sun. There will always be people ahead of you and people behind you. But the only person you are truly meant to surpass is who you were yesterday. That is the quiet competition worth having. The one that leads to inner peace, not pressure. When you focus on becoming better instead of being better than, your energy shifts. You no longer live out of scarcity, but from abundance. You begin to appreciate your steps, no matter how small, because they are yours. So release the habit of comparison. You are not walking their path. You are walking your destiny. What is unfolding for you is not late, it is right on time. Stop counting what others have. Start cultivating what you've been given. When you finally stop comparing, you make room for contentment. You realize that happiness is not found by running faster. It's found by standing still in gratitude. And when you learn to honor your own rhythm, you discover the quiet truth. There was never anyone to compete with, because no one else was ever meant to be you. Number 5. Eliminate excuses. Excuses are the invisible walls that keep you standing in the same place while convincing you that you are moving. They are the comforting stories the mind creates to protect you from discomfort, responsibility, and growth. I'm too tired. It's not the right time. I don't have enough. These words may sound harmless, but they slowly build a cage around your potential. Every excuse is a stone laid between you and the life you could have lived. And the more you speak them, the higher the wall becomes, until one day you forget what freedom even felt like. The truth is, excuses are born from fear. The fear of failing, the fear of being judged, the fear of stepping into the unknown. They disguise themselves as logic, whispering, wait a little longer, it's safer here. But safety has never created greatness. Growth demands movement, even when you are uncertain. You must learn to walk into the unknown with faith stronger than your excuses. Because every time you choose comfort over courage, you betray the part of yourself that knows you are capable of more. Imagine a warrior standing before a mountain. The climb looks impossible. The mind begins to speak. You're not ready. You're too weak. Maybe tomorrow. And so the warrior waits. Days pass, then months, then years. The mountain doesn't move. Only the warrior grows older, still standing at the base, still telling the same story. That is what excuses do. They steal your time and disguise the theft as reason. If you want to transform your life, you must see excuses for what they truly are: illusions. They are the mind's way of protecting you from effort. But effort is the only path to mastery. No progress is born from waiting for perfect conditions. The conditions will never be perfect. There will always be obstacles, distractions, reasons to delay. But those who rise don't wait for the right time. They create it. The day you stop making excuses is the day you start reclaiming your power. You realize that the same energy used to explain why something can't be done could have been used to take the first step. Discipline begins when the desire to grow becomes greater than the desire to stay comfortable. You will not always feel ready. You will not always feel motivated. But you must move anyway. Because consistency builds momentum, and momentum builds transformation. You may think your circumstances define your limits, but it is your excuses that do. There are people who started with less than you, less time, less support, less talent, and still rose because they refused to make excuses. And there are others who had everything but never moved forward because they kept waiting for life to become easier. The difference is not opportunity, it's ownership. When you take full responsibility for where you are, you unlock the power to change it. So the next time your mind whispers, "I can't," pause and challenge it. Ask yourself, is this true or is this comfortable? Most of the time it's comfort pretending to be truth. You are stronger than the voice of limitation. You are capable of far more than you've allowed yourself to believe. The moment you stop arguing for your limitations, you begin to live from your possibilities. Do not waste your life explaining why you couldn't climb the mountain. Start climbing, even if your steps are small and trembling. Excuses dissolve when faced with action. And the beauty is, once you begin, the mountain that once looked impossible starts to shrink with every step you take. So eliminate every excuse, burn them, bury them, leave no trace. Because the world does not reward intentions, it rewards action. The universe moves for those who move first. And when you finally stop justifying your limitations, you will discover that the only thing that ever stood between you and your destiny was the story you kept telling yourself. Number 6. Eliminate fear of change. Change is the wind that shapes every life, yet most people spend their days building walls to resist it. You feel it when life begins to shift, the job that no longer fulfills you, the friendship that starts to fade, the inner voice whispering that something new is calling. But instead of listening, you hold on tighter, because change feels uncertain. It demands that you leave behind the familiar, step into the unknown, and trust that the ground will appear beneath your feet. And that for many is terrifying. But the truth is this: nothing in nature resists change. The seasons do not fight their turning. The tree does not mourn its fallen leaves. The river does not fear its bends. Everything that lives understands this sacred rhythm, that change is not loss, it is transformation. Only the human mind clings to what was, afraid of what might be. You mistake comfort for safety, but comfort is only a temporary shelter. Stay too long inside it, and it becomes a cage. You were never meant to stay the same. You are not a statue, you are a current of life. Every experience, every challenge, every ending is designed to carve you into a more authentic version of yourself. The fear of change arises because the mind wants control. It wants guarantees, clear paths, predictable outcomes. But growth does not come with guarantees. Growth comes with surrender. The universe never asks if you're ready. It simply invites you to evolve. When you resist change, you stop flowing with life. You cling to people, situations, and identities that no longer align with who you are becoming. And in doing so, you suffer. Not because change is painful, but because your attachment to the old makes it so. The pain of change is the tension between holding on and letting go. Once you release, the pain fades and peace takes its place. Think of a snake shedding its skin. The old layer served its purpose, but now it tightens and suffocates. If the snake refuses to let go, it cannot grow. You too carry layers, old beliefs, old roles, old versions of yourself that once protected you, but now limit you. The fear you feel is not a warning of danger. It is a sign that your old self is being outgrown. The life you desire cannot fit inside the shell of who you used to be. Change will always come, whether you invite it or not. You can resist it and suffer, or you can embrace it and evolve. When you allow change to flow through you, life opens doors that resistance could never find. You start to see that endings are not punishments. They are sacred transitions preparing space for something greater. The relationships that fade, the opportunities that dissolve, the identities that crumble, all are clearing paths for new beginnings. Stop asking what if I fail, and start asking what if I grow. What if the very thing you fear losing is the weight holding you down? Every time you surrender to change, you meet a new strength within yourself, a strength that cannot be taught, only awakened through experience. So do not fear change, fear stagnation, fear waking up one day and realizing that you remained the same because you were too afraid to become more. Change will shake you, but it will also free you. It will test your faith, but it will also expand your spirit. The path of transformation is not meant to be easy. it is meant to be real. One day you will look back and see that the changes you once resisted were the very ones that built your strength, your wisdom, and your peace. Life will always ask you to let go of something to make space for something greater. Trust that exchange. Trust the unfolding. Because when you stop fearing change, you stop fearing life itself, and that is the moment you truly begin to live. Number 7. Eliminate overthinking. Your mind can be your greatest ally or your most relentless enemy. Overthinking is the storm that looks harmless from a distance, but once you step into it, it traps you in endless motion, thinking, analyzing, replaying, worrying without ever arriving anywhere. It convinces you that by thinking more you'll find peace. But peace never comes through excess thought, it comes through presence. The mind says, if I can just understand everything, I'll finally feel safe. Yet the more you think, the further you drift from clarity. You know that feeling lying awake at night, your body still but your mind restless. You replay conversations, imagine future outcomes, create scenarios that may never exist. Each thought builds upon the last until you're caught in a spiral of your own creation. You're not living life, you're living inside your head. Overthinking turns the simplest decisions into heavy burdens and makes small problems feel like mountains. It drains your energy not because life is difficult, but because your mind refuses to rest. Imagine a pond. When the water is calm, you can see your reflection clearly. But if you keep throwing stones into it, the ripples distort the image. Your thoughts are those stones. The more you toss in, the less clearly you can see yourself. Stillness is not the absence of thought, it's the ability to let thoughts pass without following them. The mind is meant to serve you, not enslave you. Overthinking is a sign that you've forgotten how to trust life. You try to control every outcome, predict every possibility, and protect yourself from every uncertainty. But control is an illusion. No matter how much you plan, life will still move in its own mysterious rhythm. And that's not something to fear, it's something to embrace. You don't need to have all the answers before you take a step. You only need to take one step, and the next one will reveal itself. You must learn to quiet the noise. When your mind starts racing, pause and breathe. Observe the thoughts without feeding them. You are not the voice in your head. You are the one who hears it. Like clouds drifting across the sky, let the thoughts come and go without holding on to any. The more you watch without reacting, the more space you create between you and your mind. In that space, peace begins to grow. Overthinking often comes from fear. The fear of making mistakes, of being judged, of not being enough. But no amount of thinking can protect you from life. Mistakes will come, change will come, uncertainty will come, and that's okay. You were built to move through them, not to overanalyze them. The path becomes clear when you walk it, not when you think about walking it. Train your mind the way a monk trains his breath with patience and presence. When the mind drifts into worry, bring it back to now, this moment, the only place where peace truly lives. The past cannot be changed. The future cannot be controlled. The only power you have is in the step you are taking right now. Let go of the need to figure everything out. Some answers reveal themselves only through living, not through thinking. The flower does not think about how to bloom. It simply opens when the sun rises. Life works the same way. When you stop overthinking, you align yourself with the natural flow of existence. You begin to trust your intuition, move with clarity, and act with strength. So free yourself from the trap of endless analysis. The mind will always try to complicate what the heart already knows. Silence the noise. Take a breath and return to stillness. You'll find that life has always been simpler than your thoughts made it seem, because peace was never lost. It was only hidden beneath the noise of your own mind. And when that noise fades, you finally hear what life has been whispering all along. Just be here now. Number 8. Eliminate clutter. Clutter is not just what fills your shelves, it's what clouds your mind. Look around you for a moment. Every object, every unfinished task, every unnecessary possession carries a fragment of your attention. When your environment is crowded, your mind begins to mirror that chaos. You start to feel heavy, distracted, restless, without knowing why. You may think it's stress or lack of time, but often it's simply the weight of too many things that do not serve you anymore. Imagine walking through a forest where fallen leaves cover the path, branches block your way, and the sunlight struggles to break through. You can still move forward, but every step feels slower, harder, uncertain. That's what clutter does to your spirit. It blocks the light that tries to reach you. You can't move freely toward peace when your energy is tangled in the unnecessary. There's a quiet power in simplicity. When you begin to let go of what you don't need, you make room for what truly matters. The old clothes you never wear, the papers you never look at, the broken things you keep just in case. They're not harmless. They occupy physical and emotional space. They whisper stories of the past and keep you from being fully here, in this moment. Every drawer, every corner filled with clutter is a reflection of hesitation, the inability to release. But clutter doesn't live only in your home. It lives in your phone filled with endless notifications, in the people who drain your energy, in the thoughts you replay again and again. You can clean your room and still feel heavy if your mind is cluttered with what-ifs and unfinished emotions. The art of elimination begins inside. You must learn to look within and ask, what is taking space in me that no longer deserves to stay? When you hold on to too much, your energy becomes divided. You can't hear your intuition clearly when you're surrounded by noise. Whether that noise is physical or mental, the mind, like a room, needs space to breathe. Stillness cannot enter a space that is already full. You may not realize it, but every item you own carries a vibration, a small thread that ties you to a moment, a memory, a feeling. Some of those threads uplift you, but many quietly pull you backward. To eliminate clutter is not to live with less, but to live with intention. It is to look at your life and say, this stays because it adds meaning. This goes because it no longer serves my growth. When you begin to do that, one drawer, one thought, one relationship at a time, you start reclaiming your power. You begin to notice how lightness feels. You walk into your space and it feels like breathing fresh air. You wake up and your mind feels like an open sky instead of a crowded room. Start small. Remove one thing that does not align with who you are becoming. Delete one file that no longer matters. Release one thought that keeps circling without purpose. You will soon discover that letting go is not loss, it's liberation. Every time you create space, you invite life to flow back in. The universe cannot fill a cup that is already full, but when you empty it, life rushes to refill it with peace, clarity, and opportunity. You deserve that space. You deserve that clarity. A life filled with meaning cannot exist in a room filled with noise. The less you carry, the lighter your steps become. And when your surroundings are clear, your inner world begins to mirror that stillness. So clean, not just your home, but your heart. Clear, not just your shelves, but your spirit. When you release what no longer belongs, you don't lose anything. You make space for everything beautiful that's been waiting to enter. Because clarity is not found by adding more, it's found by removing what was never needed in the first place. Number 9. Eliminate regret. Regret is a shadow that follows you quietly, whispering reminders of what could have been. It clings to your steps, pulling you backward every time you try to move forward. You replay old choices, old words, old moments, as if somehow by thinking about them enough, you can rewrite them. But regret is not a doorway, it is a wall, and the more you lean against it, the more it traps you in a past that no longer exists. Every regret is like carrying a stone in your heart. One may not seem heavy, but over time they pile up. You begin to walk slower, breathe shorter, live smaller. You tell yourself you've moved on, but deep down those stones still weigh you down. You cannot run toward your future while clutching the debris of yesterday. What's gone is not meant to imprison you, it's meant to teach you. And once the lesson is understood, you must put the stone down. You see, life is not meant to be perfect, it's meant to be lived. You made the decisions you made with the awareness you had at that time. You said what you said because that's what your heart or your fear allowed you to say. You acted with the level of consciousness you possessed. That's all. Growth means forgiving the person you were when you didn't know better. Regret begins to die the moment you start showing compassion to your past self instead of punishment. Think of a tree. Each year it grows new rings within its trunk. Some rings mark seasons of plenty. Others mark drought, storms, and harsh winds. But the tree does not curse the scars. It stands taller because of them. Every ring, even the rough ones, is part of its story. You too have those rings, memories of mistakes, failures, and missed chances. But they were never meant to make you bitter. They were meant to make you wiser. The truth is, regret only exists when you live looking backward. But life happens only in the forward motion of now. You can't heal in the past, you can only heal in the present. When you let your mind wander back to moments that hurt, pause and ask yourself, what am I still holding on to? What do I gain by reopening this wound? Because sometimes the pain you carry is not because of what happened, but because you keep refusing to let it end. Release the idea that your past defines you. You are not your mistakes. You are the awareness that grew from them. If you had never fallen, you would never have learned to rise. If you had never lost, you would never have known what truly matters. Every wrong turn was simply life redirecting you toward where you were meant to go. Every closed door was protection in disguise. You must decide to stop bleeding from old wounds, to stop watering dead gardens, to stop seeking redemption for things that no longer need to be redeemed. What happened, happened. What's done is done. The only real apology you can give is by living better now. Learn, grow, forgive, move on. Let go of regret, not because it never mattered, but because you now understand why it did. Letting go is not about forgetting the past, it's about freeing your energy from being trapped inside it. The moment you release regret, you make space for gratitude, for the lesson, the resilience, and the strength that rose from the ashes of what once was. So breathe deeply, feel the weight that's been pressing on your chest, and now with calm intention release it. Walk lighter, speak gentler to yourself, look ahead with open eyes and an open heart. Because life is waiting to begin again, not where you once stumbled, but where you finally decided to rise. Regret is a choice to live in reverse. Freedom begins when you finally turn around and start walking toward the sunrise. Number 10. Eliminate gossip and negativity. Every word you speak carries energy. Like drops of water falling into a still pond, they ripple far beyond what your eyes can see. Gossip and negativity are no different. They are poisons disguised as connection. You think you are simply talking, venting, sharing, but what you release into the air finds its way back into your spirit. Every negative word you speak about another coats your own heart with heaviness. Every rumor, every complaint, every judgment becomes a mirror that reflects not the world but the state of your own mind. You must understand, when you speak of others with malice, you are not defining them, you are defining yourself. Gossip is a subtle form of self-sabotage. It distracts you from your path, lowering your vibration to match the very energy you wish to escape. It promises temporary satisfaction, but steals long-term peace. It feeds the ego and starves the soul. When you join in it, you momentarily feel included, powerful, even superior. But afterward you are left feeling smaller, emptier, and somehow further from who you truly want to be. Negativity operates in the same way. It's a habit of perception, a lens you start to wear without noticing. You see problems instead of possibilities. You focus on flaws instead of lessons. And soon everything feels heavy. Not because life became darker, but because you stopped allowing light in. It's like walking through a beautiful garden with your eyes fixed only on the weeds. You miss the fragrance, the color, the quiet beauty that was always there. If you listen closely, you will realize that negativity feeds on attention. The more you speak it, the stronger it becomes. The more you repeat what is wrong, the more your mind begins to seek what is wrong. And soon it's not just your words that are poisoned, it's your thoughts, your actions, your energy. You start to carry clouds around even on sunny days. You start to feel exhausted not because of your life, but because of the thoughts you repeat about it. To eliminate gossip and negativity, you must become the guardian of your tongue and the master of your inner voice. Before you speak, pause and ask, does this uplift or does it destroy? If your words are not a bridge, they are a wall. If they are not bringing healing, they are spreading harm. And if they are not pure, silence is wiser. Silence does not make you weak, it makes you powerful. Because silence cannot be misused. Silence cannot wound. Silence carries peace. You must learn to walk away from conversations that lower your energy, even if everyone else chooses to stay. Protect your mental space like sacred ground. You do not have to join every discussion. You do not need to share every opinion. Not every truth needs to be spoken, and not every noise deserves your voice. The strength of a disciplined mind is not seen in how much it says but in how much it refuses to say. When you rise above gossip and negativity, something shifts inside you. You begin to notice how light you feel when you no longer judge. You begin to feel powerful when you can stay calm in the middle of chaos. You realize that true confidence is silent. It doesn't need to prove, it doesn't need to attack, it doesn't need to gossip, it simply is. And when you choose positivity deliberately, consistently, you begin to change the atmosphere around you. Your words become medicine instead of poison. Your presence becomes peace instead of tension. You start to attract people and experiences that reflect the energy you now carry. Because what you speak, you create, and what you create, you become. So speak life, speak truth, speak hope. Refuse to let your tongue be the weapon that wounds your own peace. Choose silence where words can harm and choose kindness where judgment tempts you. Because the moment you stop feeding gossip and negativity, you stop living small, you rise, you cleanse your space, you purify your path, and in that silence, in that calm strength, life will begin to mirror your purity back to you. Because when your words carry peace, your world begins to do the same. Number 11. Eliminate laziness and procrastination. Every dream that dies too early is not buried by failure, it is buried by delay. Laziness and procrastination are silent thieves. They don't attack loudly, they whisper softly. They tell you, you have time. They convince you that tomorrow is safer, that later will be easier, that someday will be perfect. But the truth is, every someday you speak is a graveyard for the life you could have lived today. You know this feeling the moment when inspiration strikes, when you see clearly what must be done, and yet instead of moving, you hesitate. You scroll, you wait, you distract yourself. The fire that was burning within begins to fade, replaced by excuses disguised as reasons. You tell yourself, I'll start when I feel ready, forgetting that readiness never comes before action, it comes because of it. Laziness is not always doing nothing. Sometimes it is the art of being busy with what doesn't matter. You fill your hours with noise, activity, and comfort, but deep down you know you are avoiding the real work. It's like polishing the surface of a mirror that you never dare to look into. The truth stares back at you, your progress is waiting on your discipline. Procrastination is the illusion of safety. You think that by delaying action you are protecting yourself from discomfort, from effort, from failure, but in truth you are building chains made of hesitation. Every time you say later, the chain grows stronger, and the longer you wait, the heavier it becomes. One day you look around and realize that what once required courage now demands a miracle. You have lost not only time but trust in yourself. You must remember, no one can fight this battle for you. Motivation is fleeting, it comes and goes like the wind. But discipline is forged. It is built through repetition, through the small victories of doing what must be done even when you do not feel like it. The mind will always seek the path of least resistance, but strength is born in the resistance itself. The longer you entertain comfort, the further you drift from your potential. Look around you, everything in nature moves. Rivers flow, trees grow, the wind shifts, the stars travel across the sky. Nothing remains still except what is lifeless. So when you resist movement, when you stay stagnant, you are fighting the very rhythm of existence. You were never meant to remain idle. You were meant to rise, to build, to create, to evolve. Ask yourself, how many times have you delayed your own transformation? How many mornings have you woken up promising yourself you'd start tomorrow? The clock never stops. Life is not waiting for your perfect moment. It is happening now. You will never find time. You must make it. You will never find energy. You must generate it through motion, and you will never find confidence. You must earn it by keeping your promises to yourself. Laziness fades the moment you stop negotiating with it. There will always be resistance in the beginning, the weight of inertia. But if you move despite it, even a single step, momentum begins to build. And once it builds, energy replaces effort. You begin to feel alive again. Because progress is the natural food of the soul. Do not wait for life to push you. Push yourself. Every small action you take compounds. Every disciplined choice becomes a seed of strength. Wake up early even when the bed feels heavy. Focus on your purpose even when distractions call. Because one day you will look back with gratitude that you did not give in to the laziness that once tried to own you. Remember this truth: the price of discipline is always less than the cost of regret. One gives you freedom, the other chains. One builds your life, the other erases it quietly, day by day. So choose movement over stillness, action over excuse, now over later. Because life rewards those who begin. Do not let your dreams die waiting for your permission. You are ready now. You always were. Number 12. Eliminate the fear of being alone. Silence can be terrifying when you've spent your whole life trying to fill it. The moment you are alone, the noise of your own thoughts becomes louder. The echoes of doubt, the whispers of insecurity, the fear of being unseen. But here is the truth. It is not solitude that frightens you. It is meeting yourself without distraction. You fear being alone because deep down you haven't yet made peace with who you are when the world is quiet. Most people run from solitude like it's a punishment. They cling to constant company, endless conversations, and digital noise just to avoid the stillness that reflects their inner world. But the more you run from being alone, the more disconnected you become from your essence, your intuition, your truth. You cannot find peace by avoiding yourself. Peace only begins when you stop trying to escape your own presence. Think of a lake. When the surface is disturbed, it cannot reflect the sky. But when the water becomes still, everything above is mirrored perfectly. Your mind works the same way. When you are constantly surrounded by noise and chaos, you lose the ability to see yourself clearly. Solitude stills that water. It allows you to meet the person beneath the surface, the real you, not the version shaped by opinions, expectations, and noise. You see, being alone is not loneliness. Loneliness is the absence of others. Solitude is the presence of yourself. It is sacred space where you can hear your own heart without interruption. It's where clarity is born, where creativity awakens, where true confidence begins. The greatest minds, the deepest souls, the most peaceful hearts all learned to sit comfortably in their own silence. They understood that solitude is not a void, it's a temple. But to reach that temple,